Welcome to this mantra meditation on Shiva and polarities. We've probably heard that we live in a world of duality, right? Two. There's these two. There's always this and then there's that. So like there's hot and there's cold, there's light and there's dark, up, down, left, right. There's this polarity of two, duality. And there's a study called Advaita Vedanta. It's the philosophy of non-dual, not two. And what that means is that there's this belief that there is this oneness, right? This oneness within us, which we might call the soul, the divine, the universe. It goes by many different names. And that oneness is the thread that connects all of us, the Purusha, this flow of energy that permeates all things, the omnipresence. This concept might be a little on the heady side, and I'm going to make it a little bit worse by telling you I just learned how GPUs, graphic processing units for video cards, graphic cards works, and that it's so much information is being calculated that these very, very intelligent people figured out a way to send more information. Instead of just reading binary, which we always see as like a 0 and a 1, right? Those are representations of binary, 0 and 1. What they learned was to, and I might be saying this, but they learned to like polarize the charge and read a different charge on the communication. So instead of just 0 and 1, now they had 0, 1, and -1. Now these numbers that we use are just representing the idea. There's the center 0, which is off, and then and it might be easier for us to think of this who are not so technically educated, that it's kind of like a magnet. On a magnet, you have a north pole and a south pole. The poles actually aren't north or south. They aren't negative or positive. Those are just the duality words that we use to distinguish them, because they're the same, they're just opposite to each other. And so when you have a magnet that's like a bar, you have these two charges. We can call it 1 and we can call it -0, but in the middle, we have 0, we have nothing, right? There's this nothingness. We are the 0. We are that nothingness. And what happens is we often only see the 1. We only are seeing one perspective. It doesn't matter if it's a negative or a positive. It's our one perspective, and we are always moving towards it. And when we start to bring Shiva, this understanding of Shiva, into duality, we start to notice that yes, there is one. That is my default. I'm always looking forward. That is the future. That is where I'm going. That is my progress. But there's always this negative one as well. And this is like the opposite of what you normally do. So if you're a person who dwells on the past, what you normally don't do is you look to the future, right? But if you're someone who is always running away from whatever circumstance you're in, you're trying to just get over it, you're trying to you want it to be done with, you're always looking forward, your -1 is going to be being present or looking backwards at what's going on. And so you have some retrospect, so you can grow from that. And I think when we start to think about the dualities of our experience, that's when we really realize where the center is, where that 0 is. That's our meditation. That's our oneness. That's our connection to stillness. That's very heady and a lot to take in and think about. So we're going to get into our mantra meditation. If you would like to join, or you can skip ahead, or you can have a mala to join, we're going to chant Om Namah Shivaya 108 times. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Shivaya. Let that sudden stillness and quiet wash over you. Just feel yourself resonate in this space. In another story of Shiva's origin, there is this feud between Vishnu and Brahma, who are both known as the preserver and the creator, respectively. And in this feud, they argued and argued, but suddenly this immense beam of light appeared. It was a pillar of light. It extended as far as the eye could see in either direction. And it paused this feud, this argument between Vishnu and Brahma. And they made a bet to end the feud. The winner would be the one who finds the end of this beam of light. Because they weren't getting anywhere before. They were too engrossed in their argument with one another. They're like the duality. How can the opposite ends of a magnet ever get along when they can never actually touch? They can't. And so they go. One goes up, one goes down, and they just travel and they travel and they travel and they cannot find the end of this beam of light. But Brahma, he found a flower growing from this light. And so he plucked it. And when they returned to one another to see if they had found the end, Brahma presented the flower and said, I found the end. And it was at this time that Shiva manifested. Out of the light, he walked. And he called out Brahma for lying because Shiva knew that that light was the formless infinite. It was this Purusha, this concept that pervades all things. The energy, what we call energy, there's this space, there's this nothingness. It's in our standard model of the atom. This is Western science as well. It's very likely just space down there. It's just space. And that's what this light is. It's just space. And because of that, Brahma got this negative perception of himself as a liar, right? And Vishnu got this positive perception of himself. And we learned that neither was correct in the argument, which is why Shiva had to be there. Shiva represents this center point of duality, this zero, both the form and the formlessness, this nothingness, really. And when you have nothing, you're able to express nothing because you know what something is. Therefore, when you are nothing, you are also everything. Because to be nothing is to imply everything. And so this duality creates this dynamic. I mentioned earlier non-dual, but through our understanding of dual, there's this one. When you have one and you have an understanding of dual, it doesn't negate the two, it actually makes three, which is the thing with the GPU. It's the zero, there's the one, and then there's the negative one. This perception for ourselves, how this applies to like our lives, because this is like up here, but I mean, our lives are very complex, not just in our relationships with other people and with the world. And we got work and friends and family, to consider, our own communities. Beyond that complexity, the complexity of what is this that we're experiencing? How did Earth form? How did we create this technology? How do we get to the stars, and how did that light ever make its way here over such a long period of time? And how did that form in the first place as well? We have a lot of complexity, and some of these we have really good answers for, and others we have really no answer for. And through our stories and understanding of all sorts of things, from the West to the East, to the mythology, to the hard science, they are all pointing towards the great mystery of what life is. And I'm very glad that you're on this great mystery and this journey with me. We'll end this with a short mantra to Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchitananda Murtaye Nishpapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om Shanti.